Well, hello, I am Dean Tribble, as he said, and I'm just really excited to be here. I'm really happy that you're all here. We're delighted to be collaborating with uh, Chainlink in order to both put on this hackathon and be able to roll out to the market some of the features that you'll be seeing shortly. Now, Agoric was founded by pioneers in the space of smart contracts. Sergey got smartcontract.com. Smart contracts are clearly a very important element in what you'll see here and in what we all think we're doing in the blockchain world. But what is a smart contract? What have you done? That's a question that I often ask, but it's important to start there because it colors a lot of what we'll see throughout the day and throughout the hackathon. So to us, and there are many people that may have other variations on this, but for the last literally decades, it's been a contract-like arrangement expressed in code where the behavior of the program enforces the terms of the contract. And this idea, this concept of smart contract predates blockchain, right? You've probably used many smart contracts you didn't realize if you bought something through eBay, where a trusted third party that took a big slice out of the middle had software that was running that orchestrated your cooperation between buyer and seller. Now, so smart contracts are upwards of $1 trillion market cap across Airbnb and Uber and Lyft and most recently the grocery delivery services. But when brought with blockchain, they solve additional challenges that are what make them so exciting. So what does blockchain bring, right? Well, the gold standard of blockchain is multiple independent computers in different administrative zones, in different jurisdictions, all voting to agree on data, order or choices of events. Did I pay Alice or did I pay Bob? And the results of computation. How much did I pay and did a fee get taken out and what was the interest and all the kinds of things that we would like to be able to rely on a system to do. But by having machines that operate this way in these multiple jurisdictions, you end up having an assurance of execution that you simply can never get from a trusted third party. And so what it brings you is computing with integrity. And that means that you can deploy a contract that is the particular orchestration you would like between you and a third party across the internet that you've never met. And the contract will enforce the terms of agreement with a strength and assurance that no third party can meet. And that's what enables DeFi to happen, where I can now deploy atomic swaps and do a trade with someone and have an assurance that I will get the asset that I wanted in exchange for the payment that I provided. I can do portfolio management. I can do all these use cases without having someone in the middle, behind the scenes, in a position to do bad things to my money or your assets. But the next ingredient that we all need on top of that is connection to the real world. Blockchain has been in this nice isolated space, growing functionality to be able to enable cooperation between individuals across the Web3. But without that connection to the real world, its scale was limited. And so Chainlink helped bring that connection in, where you've got oracles that can provide price data. That's the obvious one. That's what everyone sees. And it's crucial and important to the kinds of things we'll be doing in this hackathon. But it also can detect or control things like transfer of the custody of a package, or monitoring weather conditions, or reporting on the outcome of elections if one had one. Those kinds of things are crucial to being able to tie the safe and secure execution on a blockchain to the real world that we all want to live in. And so all of those come together with a goal here towards accelerating DeFi. DeFi is that initial successful product market fit for blockchain, because blockchain uniquely enables that ability to enforce all kinds of cooperation and all kinds of financial activity between partners without having anyone in the middle that gets to manipulate it, change it, steal from it, etc. At least as long as you're running on a secure platform, right? And so what Agoric brings to that my quote from Mark Miller, our chief scientist, is safe composition of reusable components. Reusable components being DeFi Legos. You've heard that term. It might be atomic swap. It might be a bank account. It might be an AMM. I'll go into more detail at a later presentation today. But that safe composition is what will enable us to rapidly produce new work out of old work. 15 years ago, right, experts could do some interesting things in JavaScript with some web pages, and it was pretty good. In modern days, a beginner in a couple of months can do a far superior application with more responsiveness, higher security, flashy graphics, and all that sort of thing, because they got to build on the shoulders of those prior developers, right? They got to, in React, for example, or Vue, or any of several user interface frameworks, they got to be able to use existing components by grabbing them off the shelf from NPM and putting them together into their application without changing them, without copying the code like you get the source code remixing that happens in Ethereum right now, that sometimes leads to glory and sometimes leads to horrible security failures. No. In most applications now, they use those components unchanged and are able to build larger and more sophisticated, fancier, more responsive applications because they don't have to build it all from scratch. Now, the DeFi community is starting to be aware of that composability as being crucial, but it's still in the world of source code remixing that we had in the 80s. Right? And what we want to get to, and what Agoric brings to that table, is the ability to make components and combine them in our case, the world's most popular programming language, secure version of JavaScript, right? But be able to combine them to build richer and more sophisticated applications. But as in my previous slide, that's not enough. And so there's one of my favorite little catchphrases that when we were talking to Sergey, it came up. And now, smartcontract.com has been around for quite some time, and we've seen each other's literatures. Well, back in 2018, when Agoric, the company, started out to leverage a bunch of the technology that we've all brought together and built over many years before we got here, we met Sergey and realized how much shared vision we had with him and with the larger Chainlink ecosystem. And so we were very excited to be able to tie this together. But when we started looking at doing this earlier this year, as we got to our alpha and we were ready to then take our package of being able to build smart contracts rapidly and tie it to the real world, he had this phrase. And so our collaboration, which was announced and many of you are familiar with, our collaboration is about rolling out the Agoric public chain next year, 2021, with that rapid ability to produce smart contracts, to produce richer dapps and applications, richer DeFi, and really accelerate innovation in the way that again, Ruby on Rails or React or any of these things accelerated innovation and accelerated adoption by not just thousands or tens of thousands of developers, but literally millions of developers. We want to roll that out where you have all that extensibility in an information-rich environment. And so this collaboration is why take our model and wire it together with those rich information sources, with the rich touch out in reality that Chainlink and the extended community of Chainlink has built and is maintaining and growing over time. And so we're really excited to have Chainlink and many of the Chainlink community here to participate in this hackathon and both learn about Agoric and teach us about Chainlink and teach us about connecting to the real world. And so there will be, well, I'll go into presentations in a moment. So you're here at a hackathon. The goal is to build dapps and reusable smart contract components on Agoric's layer 1 economy. Right, on the new economy that we're building, the new blockchain plus DeFi components integrated all throughout the stack, and you'll hear more about that later on. But build those dapps to be early adopters, early applications, early reusable components for the mainnet that will come out next year. And work with us on the way to beta, testnets, on out in Q1 to start rolling these things out. And for winning teams, there are, of course, both sponsorships, but also long-term mentorship, if appropriate, from Agoric, from Chainlink, and from some of the other folks that are here at the hackathon with us. So we're very excited to see what everyone can build. The prizes, there's $10,000 in prizes now in combination of USD and Link. There are several categories, and Rowland will go into much more detail. But, key thing is, DeFi that uses Chainlink, right? DeFi that it doesn't live in isolation, but connects and leverages the real world. Or just dapps that use Chainlink, because I'm very excited personally about not just the ones that are using a financial price, a price and a financial oracle, but ones that are using oracles that are about sensing the real world. So an insurance contract that will automatically trigger based on weather reports, so those kinds of things. And the exciting thing, again, about having a large community is it's incentivized to grow and spread and cover all these rich additional use cases as the crypto ecosystem grows. Best integration enhancement, that would be working on the Chainlink integration layer to add more kinds of oracles, more kinds of participation, better integration of price feeds and so forth. We have a great integration that we built together with Chainlink available and as plugin components now that again I'll talk about later on at a presentation later today. But that's one of those things where it's a reusable component. You can come up with new and different ways to extend it, plug it together, grow it, add other things, additional aggregations, all those kinds of things. We're excited to see what you can do there. Best user experience, if we're talking to the real world and we're talking to the real world about people's money, wow, they really care about getting user experience. It's really important that they know where their money is, that they can get it back, what's going on with their money, what's going on with their assets, all that kind of thing. And then finally, make sure you stick around at the end, because one of the things we want is what was the most exciting to you. So the developers that work on projects will be able to vote on what one do they think deserves the Developer's Choice Award. So those will all be judged, except for that last one, by our panel of judges. Zucky Munyon, a all-around blockchain expert and instrumental in the Cosmos ecosystem, and runs a validator there, and is very familiar with the Agoric architecture and the amazing opportunity of composable DeFi on top of Agoric. Miko Matsumura of Gumi Ventures, Lauren Stevenson of Pantera Capital, Bak Kim of Hashed, and finally Keenan Olson of Chainlink. And I know many of you are very familiar with him, and he knows the kinds of things that people out there are able to do and can hold you to that critical standard of using real world data from Chainlink Oracle. So we're very excited about what these people will be able to see, observe, report, and share about your applications and award prizes appropriately. We also have several hack partners. Now these are groups that came in and joined us. Oh, and Lemniscap also is here. Apologies, this didn't get updated. So we welcome the people that joined us from those communities. They have developers, they have portfolio companies that need the kind of technology that combined Agoric and Chainlink can bring them, and they have use cases that they are more than happy to talk about. So if you need support in the area of getting an investor perspective, a business perspective, of outside perspective on use case, advice on how you might build a business about this later, or etc., keep an eye out for these people, and by all means pull them into conversation, get their help on your dapp, or your project, etc. They're brilliant. They've got a lot of valuable insight, and we're delighted to have them aboard, and we're delighted to have the extended community of teams that they've connected with working on this combined platform here. So the hackathon will run starting today. Ready, set, go. No, wait a couple hours. Check out a couple of the talks. There will, however, for this first week, there will be 6 days of workshops and presentations. The full agenda has them, and you'll see several of them, both introductory, like the introduction to DeFi in general, that it follows my talk. Some of them will dive very deep into, here's how call spreads work, and then here's the code implementing that in Agoric and how it interfaces to an Oracle. Right, and so look at the spectrum of talks and workshops available. A lot of them will help with your projects. A lot of them will perhaps inspire some additional extensions to your projects, etc. We will have daily office hours, and we're very excited to provide any mentorship that's useful to help you make your project succeed. And so finally, and Rowland will have an entire session on this, but team formation will be happening on Discord and in a later event today that Rowland will talk about. Tech support will happen on Discord, in the chat down below, or in various pages about this. You can see the link to join Discord. Please join it if you haven't. As teams form, we will be adding team-specific channels, so you have a place to both be able to easily collaborate with people and reach out to both Agoric support and Chainlink support, depending on which area your interest and concern is. It'll just make it slightly easier for people to jump on it and respond to you quickly. Okay? And then, so finally, before I leave it off to Rowland, I will point out that the next thing is going, well, no, he'll introduce our speakers. I'm very excited about our next speakers. So thank you very much.